All right. We are talking about recruiting and hiring A players on your team. And I'm really excited to share with you some of the best tips and strategies to making sure that you aren't spinning your wheels, turning and burning through new employees. Because really, a properly planned and well-executed interview strategies is one of the best ways to ensure whether a new hire is going to be right for the job. So today, I'm excited to be sharing with you 5 of the best questions to ask candidates to see if they have what it takes, right? Have what you are looking for to help grow your aesthetic business. And an important one, that they're able to adapt to constant change, because that's a reality, right? If you are continuing to grow your business, you're always going to have changes, right? And optimizations and upgrades to your business, to your system. So you want to make sure that they are adaptable, right? So I showed you this book here. It's called Who? And it's by Jeff Smart and Randy Street. And all of our leaders at Diamond Accelerator, we read this book as a leadership team because we really didn't want to go through the growing pains of hiring the wrong people on our team, right? And we've seen this with many of our clients as well, right? What they might have great questions about the specific service role that their team member is going to be doing, but they skipped some really important questions to learn about what motivates the team member, how they respond to change, to pressure, right? Are they really going to be a good fit to your culture? Because even if they are an A player, if they don't fit in with the culture of your aesthetic practice, then ultimately at the end of the day, it's not going to be in your best interest for your team and your business. So today I'd like to share with you those 5 core questions that I love to ask candidates. Now, before I dive into those questions, I want to give you some bonus tips that are really important to first set yourself up for success. And that all starts in your job description or your job posting and being very clear, very, very clear on what exactly you are looking for, what the role and responsibility of that position is going to entail. Oftentimes we get very kind of lazy, right? And you just throw something up there, something generic, something not specific. You hire someone because you think it's going to be a good fit. You rush the process. And then, a week, a month, a quarter into it's not working out, right? Because the team member isn't doing what in your head you wanted them to do, or vice versa, right? You ask your new team member to do something and they're like, what? This is news to me. I don't do that. I didn't know I'd have to do that, right? So you first want to have really clear roles and responsibilities and exactly what you're looking for in that job position. The next thing that I want to share with you, number 2, is that I love to do at least 3 interviews, right? So 2 could be pre-screeners and then 1, the final interview. And then as a bonus, I love to do job shadowing, especially in the event they're doing services and treatments on patients. You want to see how they do with that, right? Because there's certain skills that you can train, and then there's certain skills that is just in them or not, right? And you want to decide if it's going to be a good fit in your culture. So in the screening interview process, right, there's some very just like standard questions that you're asking about, what your goals are, right? Especially in the aesthetic industry, you want to learn that, ultimately, do they want to run their own med spa one day? Or are they looking to just be a part of a team and culture that they can call home for the rest of their career? It's a very important question because all too often we invest time, energy, and money only to find out that person wanted to ultimately have their own business, right? So you'll want to vet that out. And then ask them what they're really good at, right? Because not only what they're good at, but what they like to do, because things that we're good at and that we like to do, we naturally gravitate to. And if that role requires something different, they might be great, but they might not be great for that role, right? And then and on the flip side, right? What are they not so good at, or what are they not interested in doing whatsoever? Because again, that is going, no matter how great they are, if it doesn't match up with the role that you're needing to fill, it's not helping anyone at the end of the day. Another pre-screening question I like to ask is, okay, if you were your last 3 bosses, or depending on their history, right, 1, 2, how would they rate your performance on a scale of 1 to 10 when I talk to them, right? Notice the verbiage that I said, when I talk to them. Because I am gonna reach out to them, and I do this little trick, and I'll be like, what was the name of your last boss? How do you spell that? Is that the contact information correct that you included on your resume? Fantastic. Okay, so when I reach out to him, how would he rate your performance on a scale of 1 to 10 when I talk with him, right? And what they're going to tell you is very different than if they didn't get the impression that you were ever going to actually reach out to them. I do think it is wildly important to reach out to references and making sure that those references were actual direct supervisors of past job experience. It's just really important to do your due diligence. It's such a big deal to bring on a new team member. It literally costs you tens of thousands of dollars on the positive and potentially on the negative if it's not done correctly, right? Not to mention the pain and heartache that it can potentially cause you. So those are my favorite pre-screening interview questions. Of course, there's a long list that are service or treatment specific based on the role and responsibility that is separate, but this is more learning about who they are as a person, what they're all about, what they're trying to get after, because I think that is equally as important as the service type questions. Okay, so here are my 5 interview questions, and I got this straight from WHO, and we literally as an organization have this when we interview candidates to join our team. The first one is, like, what accomplishment are you most proud of in your job history? And what did that look like and entail? Like, I'm looking for them to be very detailed here and thoughtful about it. And I first asked them, what initially were you hired to do, right? I want to see if they pay real attention to role, responsibility, and scope of work, right? That they're not someone that just shows up, clocks in, and leaves. That's not the type of team member that I want a part of my organization. I also want to know what were some of the low points during their job. Why I like to ask that question is because, one, I want to see, like, how negative or a complainer that they potentially could be, right? Like, if it is legitimate things that they didn't enjoy or like about their role, or are they kind of a whiny baby? Like, that is the last thing that I want on my team, is a woe is me person. So I really try to pull those type of things out. And I want to know, who were the people that you worked with? And again, this is where I dive right in, like, specifically, what was your boss's name? How do you spell it? What was it like working with them? Tell me what were your biggest strengths and improvements in that area that she or he will tell me about you. So one, I want to see how they talk about their past boss, right? Like, are they a shit talker? Again, are they a whiny baby? Can they understand the manager or the business owner's perspective, right? I love having employees that, even if they aren't the business owner or the direct supervisor, they still treat the business, the team, like it's their own business. That's the type of people that I want a part of my organization. Okay. And so you can kind of pull that out of people by asking them to share their last experience and how they talk about other people. And even if it was a poor experience, or they didn't have a good boss, right? A really like a talented person that I want to work with would always be able to pull a learning experience out of it, something positive or something that they could look at and be like, it made me realize this, or I see now that I could have done X differently, right? That self-reflection is an important skill to have on your continued growth, right? And again, that's it for me, the type of people that I want a part of my organization that's really thoughtful about that has really good self-reflection, that wants to continue to grow. And so you can ask questions like their past experience to try to see if they have the same core values that you have. I also want to know, another question that I love to ask is, how would you rate the team you inherited, right, on A, B, or C scale, right? And then if they're in a position of leadership, right, what changes did you make on that team? Did you hire anybody? How would you rate the team when you left, right? Like if you inherited a C team, did you at least get them to a B, if not an A, when you left, right? So I want to see what type of leader that they are. Even if they are not someone that has direct subordinates under them, I want to know, like, if they started a role that maybe wasn't developed yet, right? It was a new position and they were a part of establishing that role and responsibility, or that department or that membership or whatever it may be. I want to know what they did to attribute to its growth, right, and improving it. Or are they someone that just sits back and waits for orders, waits for directions, right? Takes no initiative themselves. Now, these are all important core values for me and my business, right? So I guess I would first say, like, you need to really decide and know what your core values, what is really important, those things that you can't teach someone that are in them, right? Not just like, oh, can they inject? Can they do hydrofacials? Can they answer the phone, right? In my opinion, most of the service, the treatment side of things, right? You can teach someone those things, right? So I spend the majority of my time in interviews really learning about what motivates the person, what's important to the person, where that person wants to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, right? Are they growth minded? Are they going to be, can they adapt to change? So you need to figure out what your core values are for your organization, right? And then ask questions to be able to pull that out to see if they fall in line at the end of the day. But I do highly recommend to have all your leaders in your organization read this book, Who, by Jeff Smart and Randy Street. It was really valuable for our team. And it helped us not just look for transactional, daily tasks and roles and responsibilities of focusing our interview time of like, oh, do you have history doing X service or task, right? But really looking more at the core of the person, because similar to us, like you, right? If they have the credentials and then just the core values, right? The mindset and value the same things that you do, you can teach them how to answer the phones. You can teach them how to use your EMR. You can teach them how to develop a treatment plan, how to give an amazing facial, how to sell a package, how to sell a membership, right? Those things are teachable, but it's very challenging, very, very challenging to teach someone to be growth minded, to teach someone to be okay with change, to welcome change, right? Those skills, those mindset and characteristics are very hard to teach, are very hard to change, especially adults, right? So that is what you should really be digging through during your interview process. And I also, to go back to having at least 3 interviews and having them shadow and spend some time in your office when possible, is because, like, if you just do one interview, 1 30-minute, 1 60-minute interview, like, I can get my shit together. I can look professional. I can sound professional for that one interview, right? But what I say to 3 different, even though my team, when we do our interview process, we all have our set of questions. And our questions are very similar, but we position them in different ways. And I can't tell you how many times when our leadership team, our interview team comes together and we go over what the candidate says, there's been times where like, oh, well, they told me this. Well, that didn't match up here. Like, this is not making sense to me, right? And then other times, like, it's very aligned, right? And we're like, I believe them. They are gonna be a great fit in our organization, right? And we always have different personalities, right? Like, I have a team member that's very analytical, right? And I'm like the warm and fuzzy relationship. Like, I just want to be around that person. I want them, kind of thing. And they're more analytical, right? So it's really good to have an interviewing team that looks at things from different perspectives, right? We all share the same core values. That's why we're part of the same organization. However, we get there in different ways on different timelines, right? And so that is how we structure our interview process. And a small element, I gave you insight into our recruiting process, and we have helped our clients institute this same type of interviewing, and it's been really effective for them after many times of turning and burning through employees by not setting themselves up for success initially. So make sure you check out this book. And if you loved this training, please share it with your team or another med spa that could benefit. You can catch the replay on my YouTube channel. And to get access to more free trainings that help you grow your med spa, visit my link tree in my social media bio. And be sure to join me live every Wednesday, guys, 2:30 Central Time, same place. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks